Hottest day of the year. 74 degrees. I just turned my AC off so I could chat with you. Here's what's on my mind. Do you actually need to spend that much money on arrows? Do we need to be spending all the money to get the .01s, the fancy stuff? Today we dig in, we test them, and we talk about, what's the point of diminishing returns? And for the person who's just maybe an average archer like me, just a guy that likes shooting their bow, is it worth it to spend that money on arrows, or could you spend it on something else? Let's go find some people, let's shoot some stuff into some steel, and make a day of it. What do we think about that shirt from the Bow Rack? Oh, Mr. Wayne Endicott. Shout out to Wayne and Cam. Shout out to those guys helping all these new people get into archery. It's pretty cool. Guys, I have thoughts, but Josh has thoughts, and he's smarter than me. So we're gonna find him.
It took you so long. I had to go back down to the shop and do something.
Well, look who it is. I've been waiting here the whole time for
Whatever, he was tardy pace for the party.
Josh, do people need to spend all this money on arrows? You have opinions?
I do have opinions.
Okay, let's go talk about opinions.
All right.
Five is the best, one is the worst.
Put components on there. I demanded it. It's important. I would say what they come with and how good or bad is what they come with. Comparing arrows to arrows, right?
Yeah.
We're comparing to what you get here and what you get here.
Yeah.
But these numbers are very, very accurate. They're right where I would have put them. I wouldn't have given it a 5 on cost because there are cheaper arrows in existence. But for what it is, it's very reasonably priced. So 4 is good. That's what I'd give.
So we agree. What's up with that?
Yeah. Well, actually, there is one here I would change. Well, wait. But what's up with that is that you listen and we talk. So you're bound to get the majority of similar thought.
I don't listen.
Right?
I don't listen.
Which there's usually logic behind my thought. So in general, it will typically add up to a similar thing. Flexibility, aka flexibility, I'd give it a 5 because it weighs the correct amount for an arrow to be built the way you want it at 15%.
Just for stats, because I did my homework here, 8.8 GPI in RIP at 300 spine, TKO 8.8 GPI, grains per inch. That stands for
8.9 on a TKO.
I think
You
they're
sure
8.8. I got it right here.
Well, it's a 10th. That's okay.
Either way, it's close. So the difference is if you go TKO 250 spine, and then it's just a little bit heavier.
Yeah, and on the regular rip, it's slightly heavier than the TKO by 3/10 or 4/10, which
250.
250 on a 250, not on a 300. On a 300 is actually less. Like there's so much good stuff going on with the rip. It's crazy for what it is and what it costs. I mean, you're talking $120 for a dozen arrows. Right down here, components number 4. It comes with a good component. It's not the perfect component. Way better than what most components include because you know how I feel about steel and titanium. And there's only a couple arrows that come with steel. Another one to touch on is the Rampage from Black Eagle. They also come with a steel insert and they're a similarly priced arrow. It's just victory dollar per dollar. When you look at them, they're spine deflected and spine aligned, where you're not going to get that with a Black Eagle. So you're paying just a baby amount more. You're going to get your arrow fletched correctly without any other additional work. Plus, I think the rip in a V6 is actually cheaper than the lower grade Rampage because they only make them in 2 grades, not 3. So you're still getting a cheaper arrow here. And at the end of the day, your componentry and your broadheads are more important than straightness. So if you're trying to skimp somewhere, please, for the love of God, spend more money on your components and your broadhead and maybe buy a slightly less straight arrow. In a perfect world, you'd buy the greatest of everything. You'd buy a 1000 straightness arrow of the arrow that you want and titanium inserts and steel broadheads and all that good stuff. But if you're on a budget, buy a less straight arrow, square the sucker, put a good component in it and a good broadhead, and you're going to get better results than if you ignored those other 2 things and bought a straighter arrow, period.
Feedback for victory. Outserts that come with the TKOs are shit. They're aluminum. They're the easiest bending outserts I've messed with. Do you know of an outsert that's more easily bent?
No, anything that's pure aluminum is going to be super easy to bend. But they did get a lot of positive feedback on that insert because of people who are in Gulfly exaggerated all about the collars because it's kind of a built-in collar that if your componentry is hard and doesn't bend, you don't need. But that's why they went to that. They wanted a collar that went over the end of the arrow.
It's aluminum,
so if it
though, right?
bent, it's still aluminum.
Yeah.
Even they're like different versions of it. Like the ones that come with them are aluminum, but they do make ones that have like a steel internal. But the collar itself that goes over the outside is still aluminum. And I want to say it's like 95 grains by the time you get up into that, with still an aluminum collar. Aluminum bends. It's soft. It is not durable. Aluminum and brass shouldn't be in your insert hardware, period.
Let's break down the price real quick. RIP TKO, or RIP Victory RIPs 0.06s
are $119.99 a dozen. That come with 60 grain steel inserts.
And if we bought the steel inserts separately,
it's $40 a dozen. So now those are $80 arrows without the components. That is cheap. I mean, it's not the cheapest thing you can find, but it's damn close. I mean, like a gold tip hunter standard diameter arrow might be cheaper, but if you figure the cost of the insert in, if you believe like I do that the components in the front are super important, it is the cheapest thing you can buy. I mean,
that's pretty sick. And we don't need to talk about it that much because we're going to go shoot them into steel. That's what we're going to do.
But if you look at that one and you think of if you take the cost of the component out of there, it's the cheapest thing you can buy. So that would be a 5, not a 4, if you're amortizing the components. But that's why you get a 4 down here for components.
Oh, baby. Mm. At this stage in the game, for me, I can't outshoot them, or at least I haven't seen a difference in my group size. I did that whole shoot off, Bowtech versus Matthews, and those arrows were flying just so similar side by side. So I can't say that I can see a difference. Now, I have shot these through steel. They are sick as far as durability goes, but you're spending, what are those at 0.06 cost again?
0.06 on the TKO, oh, give me a second. I think they're like 175 a dozen.
And what if we go 0.01?
0.01, they're 215, and then you're still buying a new component. Like you're not using the stock component.
So the way I've built them, 0.01, Silent Night SK2s on the back, lighted Nox on the back of that. What's that total cost?
Jesus, like 4 something? Because you got to remember you got titanium inserts in there too. Those are $750 a piece.
Fancy titanium inserts.
Yeah, a dozen of those is close to $100. So now you're talking. You're 215, 315, another $30 on the vanes, 315, 345, and then lighted Nox are $35 a 3. You got 12 of those.
Damn, son.
Jesus. 41, 51, 140. Yeah, it's 140 on top of whatever I said. That's like $500.
It's a lot. It's a lot. So I think there's just a point of diminishing returns for this stuff.
And lighted Nox aren't a fair comparison either, because you're probably going to put them in both because they're just cool as shit. They are. They're just awesome.
We're going to go shoot these into steel. Arrows, blowing them up. We're going to get to see how titanium performs versus steel.
So nervous.
My short segment is the steel's good. It's good, but it does bend occasionally. Like you have to shoot it into something hard. I don't think it's going to bend going through an animal.
Yeah.
Let's go see what we see. Let's go bang it into some steel.
Let's waste some money.
Let's waste some money. Yeah. Yeah, let's waste some money for you guys. Predictions?
I think they're both going to blow up. But I think the steel's probably going to bend a little bit. Sometimes they don't. It just depends. Like you hit force at an angle and it's more likely to deflect and bend. You hit straight on it might not bend and just bounce off. But the arrows are both going to blow up. Guaranteed.
I'm going to send it. We're just going to see which one blows up worse first. Slow-mo cam. Steel shoots back. Predictions, Nolan?
It's gonna bend, but not nearly as much as this is.
Okay. Let's do it. You ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Absolutely.
Which one do you want to shoot first? How much money are we burning up right here?
Didn't we say they're like $500? Well, you don't have to let it knock in there though.
One, so 40-ish, 35.
Yeah, you're probably $35.
Do you think the people will subscribe for that?
I don't know, will they?
I hope so. I hope so. Okay. Say it.
It's like there's no titties on your channel, so probably not. Oh, look at that.
Titanium MFJJ steel tip.
Good dig.
RIP standard steel.
Watch out! Coming in hot.
That's what I was waiting for.
Yeah?
I knew one was gonna come flying back.
Yeah, I was prepared to dive behind Tim myself. So this is why you don't try this at home, folks. What you got?
This is why you need cool archery shop owners like Josh to let us do crazy stuff like this for you guys. What do we got? That's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Well, you've got a similar result. That just slid down inside the arrow, but actually stayed intact. So if this was like a hunting scenario, not ideal, obviously, but your broadhead's probably still on the front of your arrow and still going through the animal where that had so much force to pop back the other direction. That actually still looks relatively straight, too.
Look how flat it smashed.
Yeah. That bow's tuned perfect. Now see, where I said, do we want to set this at an angle? Because they both would have blew up if you did it at an angle.
Oh, really?
If you hit them perfectly straight, a lot of times they'll go back in on themselves. But both of them held up really good considering what you did.
What's that mean? It means it's cool to spend stuff to get the high-end components, but maybe you don't need to. Maybe you can find a middle of the road, save some bucks, spend some money on other stuff. Or if you want the best of the best and you have the budget, spend the money. Dude, it's pretty good, right?
It's damn good for how much expensive that arrow is.
Hey, we're trying to save the people some money here. You think we can get them a discount code or something?
Well, let's see. Maybe.
Maybe some swag?
Well, that's up to you.
Maybe some cool stuff like this?
That's a pretty cool shirt. Shout out to Bow Rack down there for you can only prevent dry fires with Smokey the Bear.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, see how it's cracked out the side? So that won't, no matter what you do, spin. So you'd have to take it out, like rip the thing out to look at it. Because it barely popped back out. It's still straight.
Do we want to rip the thing out? Is it worth ripping?
You can.
Can't hurt. Like, we're not ruining anything now.
Try. Not hit. There it goes. That's straight.
You happy with how your titanium did?
Well, considering it didn't bend and it's that freaking long, yeah, I'm pretty pleased. She's still straight, son.
So the arrow will break down before the
component, which is why the component's so important, because the component holds the broadhead. And when you hit something with a broadhead, it gives you a deflection of force. If the piece that holds it into your arrow is weak, you're gonna have a failure. Good componentry solves all those problems. Buy arrows that have good componentry in them if you're on a budget, or buy better componentry for whatever arrows you're gonna buy. Period.
Was he right again? Was he right again? Justin, you see that?
Does it get old? Yeah.
Titanium still spins. What do you think about that?
It's pretty neat.
What do you think, Dirty Bird? Can't believe you're working in here wearing a last. Oh, I thought it was a Lancaster hat. I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
Tell the public about how you're about to put an absolute whooping on Josh at Reading, Justin. Is that going down or what? Your public whooping for Josh?
Oh, no. I'm there for...
He FaceTimed me like an hour ago. Hey, which way do I move my bubble to get my third access right? And I'm like, I'm not going to fucking tell you. This is where's the wire? I ain't even sighted my bow in yet. He gonna beat me. And nothing would be more flattering than to have one of my boys that stuck with the sport a long time beat me. That would be awesome. Might even make me feel good.
Recent episode of the podcast of Justin.
Dirty Bird's coming on. What'd you say?
What do they know about the podcast? They might not even know there's a podcast.
This is true. They might not. Hey, it's on my channel, not on Timmy's at the moment, but it's soon to be on its own independent channel, but you've got to subscribe.
I'll get it linked right down below. We'll get the pod. Me and Josh sit by the fire, talk crap, talk a little bit about archery, and kick it. All right, guys, that's a wrap. That's pretty interesting stuff. I hope you appreciated that. Sending some arrows, blowing up burning some money for you guys. Let us know what other stuff you'd like to see, test, mess with, and subscribe to the channel. We'll catch you back for the next one.